afternoon, everyone. Amie couldn't make today's event, but still wanted her voice to be heard. And I have the privilege to read out something that Amie has written for you today. And these are Amie's words. I kept coming back to the same thing. For days, it was always one word that means so much and we can get so wrong. Communication. The ways we communicate can be silenced and be missed or misjudged. I don't know how to explain in words how it feels to me to be silenced. But looking back over my years, I can see it was always feeling silenced, which led me to self-harm. To not be able to process what was going on in my head, confusion, and so much conflict within myself that how on earth would anyone else understand? Reaching out for help is the hardest thing to do when no one sees what's invisible. I have been in hospital twice after attempting to take my own life. It was after the first that I went to the library, determined to understand why. I went with my auntie and used her card because I needed knowledge. I needed to understand. I also then went over to Liverpool and joined that library and did the same. Last night I scrolled library archives to try and find the neuroscience book I only read the prologue of, which explained so much to me. It seemed more simple then. I couldn't find it, but the gist of it was that the brain is still primal. We're all animals at the end of the day, and that modern life stresses are too evolved for our everyday human needs. We need food, sleep, to move. We were born to live simply. The day I read this was over 10 years before I finally got diagnosed with ADHD, age 33. I still couldn't control my brain, my emotions. I feel everything more strongly. I'm more passionate, more determined, more resilient. I was fighting. I decided if I couldn't control my thinking, then I needed a plan to distract myself from the pain. And I want to make an emphasis here on how much anxiety physically, sickeningly flows through the body, a physical response, not just in your head. When it felt so bad, I could scream. I learnt to stop and ask myself, did I get enough sleep? Have I eaten? Do I need to move? I treated myself like a biological experiment, and it started to work. When I moved, I would feel the air on my skin, hone in, focus, and it worked. My routine became more regimented. I ate better. I slept better. So my physical responses became less and less, and dare I say it, at times were gone for weeks. All of this gave my body everything I needed to give myself the ability to be stronger, to address my racing thoughts. But like I do in many things, I think, great, I'm cured. When I stopped doing these daily things, I forgot about them. And again, I would go back to the black dog. I like dogs a lot, but I'm sorry, black dog, I do not like you. For anyone not sure, Amy's actually referring to the black dog of depression here. I used to drink a lot, and it scared me. It was my way of stopping my brain to forget. And I knew every morning I would be full of horrible anxiety pain. But I kept doing it anyway. I just couldn't get a handle on myself. I would try. I would get lost. I was judged. I never in this world thought myself as having ADHD. I mean, that's what little boys who throw things have, isn't it? And that was my stereotype. I had a stereotype. Me. The person who always looks at everyone fairly and equally, with empathy, listens, no matter who you are, you're all important to me. A friend for 2 years kept telling me I had ADHD. No, I would say. I can't possibly. Until I finally, after the second time I came out of hospital and was still being nagged by my friend that I definitely had ADHD, I thought, well, anything's worth a shot now. I was sick of being on this never-ending cycle of starting something, not being able to actually do it, and back to self-harm. So I went to see if I had ADHD. My aunt came with me, and she asked me before I went in, what are you going to do if you're not? And I replied, I honestly don't know. Because if I'm not, I'm going to end up dead in 10 years. I can't go on like this much more. I can't cope. I walked into that room. I expected a battle to explain what I felt. I was overthinking how I was going to communicate who I am before I sat down. It was barely 10 minutes into an hour diagnostic appointment when the doctor said to me, you've got ADHD. Which brings me back to communication. Not everyone is going to understand you. They can listen, they can signpost, but unless someone understands you entirely, you can still feel silenced. After years of being on and off antidepressants with nothing really helping, and years of going to counselling, group therapy, art therapy, which gave me short-term relief, I could never put into practice what I learned afterwards long-term. The first day I took my ADHD medication, it changed my life, but that's a story for a different day. Can you imagine how different my life would have been if it had been diagnosed as a child, as a teen even? I can, but I wouldn't be me. And I certainly wouldn't have the lived experience I have now. I never used to like myself very much at all. I didn't understand why. I couldn't communicate why. So I took it out on myself in many ways. I would never compliment myself, and years ago I would never have said this. I am proud to be me. Scarred, flawed me. I never thought that I mattered in the world, but it turns out I do. I'm aware I've gone off on a tangent. I do that a lot. But now I know it's not my fault because I've got ADHD. I've been asked to give an insight about what I think would help. I obviously am not good at keeping things brief, and I would be more than happy to answer any questions anyone may have at a later date. Just send them all to Rachel. She says, P.S. Thank you, Rachel, for being me today. But I'll leave you with this. No two stories will ever be the same. That's impossible. So to listen, and to learn is important. What works for one person will not be the right solution for the next. Keep going, keep trying, keep fighting, and please always bear in mind, it might turn out you have ADHD. Thank you.